everybody? Vigo Shadow here, and today, so I already released a video, but here's the thing. So I have an update video. This is the updated video. I left my other video privated. Um, Probably not gonna re-release that because there is I know a couple of you have already seen it, so this is a very updated video to bring out the new information that I got. So I recently did Golden Ninetales Yukime, and I pretty much said, I'll just put it out there that I did say that this unit wasn't that good and it's probably a skippable banner. So I actually got updated on for my information when I did that time of the video. I was just doing it right off the fly, right off what I seen before going through and really, diving deep and just kind of giving my first impression type of stuff. So I usually don't like to do that because I like to kind of sit on it when a character does release so I can take a look at it a little bit more in depth and kind of analyze it, and then also verify with a couple other people so I get more than just, what I'm seeing in my own opinion, because I like to just cross check with other people to see if this unit's really good. So that time I didn't really do that. I just immediately went into her kit, looked at everything, and then just kind of blurted out what I first thought of the unit, which I didn't think was really good on the damage aspect. So in essence, to recap what I said on my that's pretty much a recap there. There is two banners out here now. So we have Shadow Festival, Yukime, Golden Ninetales, and we have the power in my left, Claire. Now I already did a video on the power in my left, Claire. She is she's a pretty good unit. I'd say probably excellent unit. She does a good amount of damage. I did say in my previous video that to go for Claire instead of Yukime, so I just wanted to rephrase everything, because Yukime is actually, with my updated information, is actually better than Claire. But it wouldn't be a bad idea if you chose Claire over Yukime. But here's the thing with that: Yukime is definitely more about utility. So I wanted to update everybody with that information. I know about 100 plus people have seen that video already. So of course, I'm gonna apologize because I did not cross-check with other people how good Yukime really is. And of course the JP website has updated her rank as pretty high, so I knew, I'm like, oh, something's not right here. So let me just go over why Yukime is actually better than I thought. So I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong at times, so let's just go right into it. Here is the full art. I think the full art is actually pretty cool. How they have the background with a little bit of snow on the ground, the forest with the dead trees and the moon, and then of course all this golden aura that she has. So pretty cool for the art. I'd say probably 7.5 on that. And let's go to the max stats right off the bat. So we have power to healing boost, we have healing boost to overheal, and then it's a Theanthrope. I probably mispronounced that, but that's alright. T-Ally, as I like to call it in the past. Let's check out her hidden technique. Okay, so this is where I kind of, I'll go over what I thought was kind of mid at first, but in reality it's a little bit better than what I thought here. So we have It's Over, and this is a 5-hit damage combo. So with the 5 hits, I think sometimes I was saying it's kind of hit and miss when I think sometimes I think getting a crit on a massive amount of damage could be better, but when it comes to crit chances, if you have a lower crit chance and you have a 5-hit combo, you might be able to actually hit a few crits on each one of these hits, so it gives you more opportunities or more chances to hit a crit. So that's not bad when it comes to 5 hits. However, of course, if you have a higher percentage or whatever, and then you miss one of your crits on your 5 hit, then if you would have had straight damage, you would have, you would get that damage and that crit, and it would be over and done with. You know what I mean? So it just depends on preference, really. 5, more hits, more chances, but 1 hit and you hit the crit, it's just better. But either way, this damage right here when it's awakened. Oh yeah, see, I gotta go back to the initial here. So its standard damage is 2,000 on the 5 hit there, but when it's awakened, it is 2,500. And then we get a bonus ailment here. It inflicts dark for 15 seconds. So I'd say the dark is like kind of like like, you know, actually for 15 seconds it's not bad. Sometimes I've usually seen a lot of like 5 seconds, but either way, it's for 15, so it gives the enemy a chance to miss some of their attacks there. Mainly that damage is not bad. It's definitely a little bit higher than standard, and of course having 2,500 is not bad either. So when we go to her skill, this is where I got tripped up here. So we have 15%, 9 times, which is like roughly around like 135%, just roughly around that. Now what tripped me up was that very low amount of damage, and I'm like, wow, this damage is not good. So, and that actually is pretty true when it comes to the Icewind Dance. This damage is not really the greatest, so that's kind of what really tripped me up in my previous video here. But then we have the further raises damage received by 10% for 10 seconds if it's green, so that's going to be good on green bosses, of course. When you have this awakened, it didn't change the damage at all, which kind of like, you know, struck me a little bit, and only raised the damage received by 10%. This move is still, you know, still something you don't want to see on the awakened roadmap there. And then let's go ahead and go to the part of her kit where it changes literally everything, and it was definitely something that I overlooked. So I will go ahead and show you this right here. This is what, okay, this is one of the moves, but the other move is probably the better one. The Golden Ninetails, her special ability, is probably the best part of her kit there. So for Foxfire, you have raises your own attack by 20% for 15 seconds. So you gotta realize that too, that's going to play into your Icewind Dance. 20%, I'd say it's considerable, but it's definitely what's gonna help you the most right now. Is this inflicts weakness, the 150% weakness, and the weakness, instead of I kind of like overlooked it, but weakness is really, really good in this game. I'm telling you that right now. So, and it's when it's 150% of the skill user's attack, that's actually, you know, it could actually do a lot of damage. So, one of the pieces of information that I got is somebody did a combo with Yukime. And that, of course, team comp goes into this, but like, she was able to do like 1,000,000 damage, and that is insane. Of course, there was crit values, other units that were boosting, you know, but either way, the weakness part of this is really good, and then it further raises the damage received for an additional 10% for 7 seconds if it's green elemental. So we're looking at a total of 20 damage received for green elemental, or went too far, or a total of 40 if you have them both awakened, of course. But you know, yeah. So, and then the last part of that, but yeah, the weakness is the biggest part here, and then now we're gonna go to her special ability here, which also has a big play into it. So each time the 9-hit damage is inflicted, you're going to raise the attack of all allies by 20% for 15 seconds. Also raise the defense by 20% for 15 seconds with the baby shield of attack for 15 seconds if it's red elemental. So essentially, this is the part I definitely overlooked. I'm like, okay, well, it's just going back to the 9 hits. So the 9 hits not really that, and I still think the 9 hits not that good for damage. But here's what makes it good, I guess, is the raising your own attack for 20%, right? And then you're also going to be raising the attack of all allies by 20%. So, you know, you have 40%, and then the weakness, right? So this unit is it's less about how much damage Yukime does, but how much she helps the team composition. So that is something I overlook. I'm like, okay, well, she's not doing a lot of damage. I wish like the Icewind Dance really did mess with me with that, because it's a lot of skills are messing or like playing around this Icewind Dance. But when you take this ability into account, when every time, you know, each time that 9-hit damage is inflicted, it raises the attack of all allies by 20% for 15 and the defense for 20% for 15 seconds. Now these are actually not bad in terms of, you know, percentages. They're 20%. It's not like a 5. It's not like a 10. It's 20% for each. Not only attack but defenses too. And this is on an attacker, and then it's giving them a shield on top of that. It's a baby shield, keep in mind, but either way, a shield is a shield, and if it's a red elemental. So what I failed to realize is that the utility of this unit heavily relies, you know, or is embedded in her special ability. So definitely something I overlooked. Let's just go ahead and check out the combo effect just to do that there. So according to the combo bonus, you inflict, so pretty much it's the same besides like inflicting dark for 5 seconds. Now dark to me is not that, is probably one of the less desired things to get on the strike combo. It's not as good as, like, you know, how Shadow or Awakening Hour Shadow can heal the whole team, or raising like the damage or the attack for some of them, or defense, or probably like a buff or some sort of things. But like dark, or poison's better. But like, yeah, dark to me, or a stun would be better too. But like dark, not my favorite on the strike combo, but that's still okay. Normal attack is a 3-hit combo, or a damage combo that just goes to 100. So I mean, you know, 3 hits a 3-hit. But yeah, so and I said in the last video too, imagine if this normal attack was a 9-hit, like 10, 10, 10, like all the way, and then the last one being like 20. That would be crazy. So you'd have 2 different types of 9-hit. Now with this Golden Ninetales ability here, so it could essentially, like, these last for 15 seconds, but you could probably hit that 9-hit, or that 9-hit maybe twice. I'm not sure. I didn't really check that out, but those percentages are no joke, and they actually contribute a lot to Yukime's kit, and her being very versatile in terms of utility and buffing the team. And this ability, let's just go back to this ability here, right? The Fox, what is it, the Foxfire? Yeah, this inflicts weakness 150% of the skill user's attack on a single enemy for 10 seconds. That weakness is going to be no joke. It is different than, like, simply just lowering the defense, or having higher, like, damage inflicted. Like, weakness is going to go straight to them based on the skill user's attack. It's just damage that just goes straight through. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Let's just go to her Awakening Road, or let's go to her linked gear before I forget about that. So let's go to her linked gear, and this one actually plays off the 9-hit as well. So this also contributes to a big part of her kit as well, because she's going to be doing damage a lot more better later on. So this is the type of unit that's going to take a little bit of time, or like throughout the wave, and then it's going to do a lot of damage at the end. So each time that 9-hit is inflicted, you're raising your own damage inflicted by 20% permanent. So every time that's doing it, you got 20, 40, 60, you know, 80, 100. So you got to hit that like 5 times to get like a 100% damage inflicted. So over time in that wave, you're going to be doing more and more damage. And what I thought, like, oh, it's going to take a while, like, it's not as good for PvP. Now, if we're going back to, like, the PvP aspect here, you're still raising the attack of all allies by 20%, defense by 20%, and the shield. Like, it's mainly those, like, attack and defense. Like, that's actually better than I thought it was going to be. Let's go to our Awakening roadmap here, and I think my thoughts are still the same on that. You have A1 being pretty good with doing 500% more damage with the additional status effect of Darkness, so that does make it better at A1. The Awaken for Skill 2 is actually, you get 10% more on the attack, so I'd say that's, and then 20% damage received for Green Elemental. I'd say that's actually, like, I thought it was like, but it's actually like either mid to pretty good, because especially if you're going to be able to do more damage received on those Green Elementals. Like, you're also doing, like, you got to think her magic gears getting more damage received on it, as well as these skills. So, like, you just got to consider how much these abilities are, like, double dipping and triple dipping into each other, because the Foxfire is also dipping into the Icewind Dance, and it's going to further raises the damage received by 20% as well. So you got like 20, 40, and if you're counting that gear, that's 60. So that's insane. That is something I definitely overlooked, but that's if you have that awakened, like so at Awakening 3. So keep that in mind there. Otherwise, if you're just doing base, if you're just doing everything base besides the magic gear, you're looking at 10, so that's 20 there, and then another 20, 40% if you're chaining this all together. And that is Foxfire, you know, will go, and then Icewind will go. So, I mean, you know, you have that potential for how much damage received the enemy is going to be taking. So, on top of damage received, it's the weakness. So, I really overlooked the weakness on this unit for sure. So, that weakness is actually no joke, like I was saying. And the fact that she's able to buff the team with attack, defense, and a shield. So, of course, the best part of her kit is the Golden Ninetales, which is able to pretty much synergize with the 9-hit damage. And they tuck that away at A5 here. So, to go over that once more again, because I kind of just blurted it all out. So, you got A1 being pretty good with 500% more damage, and Darkness. A2 being mid, A3 kind of... yeah, A3's bad because it's only that 10% more. I mean, it will stack with some other stuff, but like, you got Magic Gear slot at A4, and Magic Gear slot's Magic Gear slot, and then you have A5 being the best part of it. So really, really good at A5 for sure. That 10% value, and the standard shield is going to make such a difference. And that's pretty much about it. I went over her entire kit. Now to the question that I am going to take back on my previous statement. Should you pull for Golden Ninetales Yukime? And the answer for that would be yes, actually. So I do have to change my mind based on the new information that I got. Somebody was able to do more damage than they did with Claire, but that's mainly because of... Now, think about this now. Mainly because of the buffs she is able to do and how much she's able to weaken that other opponent. Claire might be able to do quite a bit of damage on the forefront, but I think Yukime is able... Like Claire is obviously going to be more damage that she could do for herself, but she's not... doing as much in terms of like helping the team. So let me just go ahead and compare just a little bit here. So she's able to do a 3,000% damage right off the, or like not right off the bat, but with her awakening, and she's taking 30% of her own HP to achieve that. So that's actually a lot of damage right off the bat. So there's that, and then there's the Settle Down. So we have 150% damage on all enemies, and then 7 stacks of bleed, and then bleed on self. It sounds bad right off the bat, but she will get her bleed resistance once she's low enough. And then you have Rock Smash, which is 300% damage on a single enemy. So she's able to have a little bit more on her kit that does like damage. Like you have bleed as a factor there, and then you have Rock Smash being able to consume stacks of bleed to do more there. And then of course the best thing about it, her special ability, which is especially at A1, when you get this A1, you have 150% for damage inflicted. So when she pops that ult, she's able to do 150% damage inflicted. I thought that was way better compared to Yukime, but when you look at all the stuff that she has, so if you, along with her magic gear, that she can get to 100 if she's able to pull that off like 5 times. That's still 50 short of Claire, but when you look at some other stuff that she can synergize with it, like Foxfire, you're able to synergize that if it's green elemental, and half the time you will be if you're going to be doing like Armageddon and specific green bosses. So Yukime is pretty good in terms of like being on that specific green boss for sure. Otherwise, you know, those extra, well, maybe 20% specifically for green would be non-existent, but still, the fact that she's able to achieve a couple things makes her slightly better than Claire, and here's why, right? first, she's able to raise the attack of all allies by 20% and the defense by 20% and the shield. That is so supportive as attacker, so that's why that's really good. Something I definitely overlooked. I was pretty enticed by Claire's damage. And then not only that, but you have the weakness. So weakness is so huge. Something I definitely overlooked. So let's just go to weakness real quick. Weakness, right? So this is inflicting additional damage based on the skill user's attack when attacking an affected enemy for the duration of the effect. So essentially, when you have like damage inflicted being like 100% after, like, especially if we're talking about near the end of the wave there, that is going to be a lot of damage that possibly can outdo Claire. Like and that's where I definitely overlooked it. So I wanted to take down my other video and definitely put this one up, saying like, if we're comparing the two units, especially with the power of my left Claire compared to Yukime, Yukime is better because she's able to utilize, or she has that utility. So she can give the allies attack, defense, and a shield, whereas Claire cannot, but she can do quite a bit of damage right off the bat, especially when you have crits involved in the mix. But Yukime does have a lot more buffs and debuffs when it comes to that enemy, with weakness being not only tied to her, because like when you throw weakness on an enemy, you have other people attacking at it, and 150% weakness is no joke. So definitely yes, pull for Yukime if you can. If you can't, that's fine. And if you already start, and for those of you that already have started to try to pull for Claire, Claire's not bad either. It's not like Claire is a bad unit at all. She does still a considerable amount of damage. I still have her on my teams. She's still pretty good. And Yukime is like obviously slightly better with all those different percentages, so I definitely downplayed her in my first video, but I want to release this one to make sure I have the right information. Going forward, instead of releasing that video right away, I will be talking with others to make sure that Yukime or other especially Shadow Festival units are as good as they seem, and not to do a video right off the bat with first impressions. So that's all there is. Thank you for those who are understanding. But yeah, that's about it. Vigo signing off.